And hey, bud.
Okay, we're good, and we're live.
I
What's
can
up,
hear.
everybody? This is Bryson Fowler, Bosstalks on the Rooftop. We are live, and I have the greatest honor of introducing today's guest of Triumph Cigars, Mr. Brian Smith. Welcome, 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 welcome.
You hanging with the kingpin.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Hey, I appreciate you coming on. We're snowed in. We're in Dallas, so what better way to get a little opportunity to be productive and showing the people who's behind the brand. So, without further ado, man, wanted to give you a shout out. Really, just sending us a sample pack so we can try and get on the show. Um, why cigars?
I mean, who doesn't love cigars? I mean, when you're talking about the baddest people in history, you're talking about Ulysses S. Grant, Winston Churchill, Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan. I mean, if you're a G, you're probably smoking a cigar. Frank Sinatra, Babe Ruth, like go down the line. So it makes perfect sense to, I know we didn't send you a Funk Master, and we were talking about that. So I'm going to go ahead and get this Funk Master going right here.
Yeah, already. So, guys, this is Triumph Cigars. If you can see it,
That's it.
beautiful, beautiful cellophane pack that it comes in. I've smoked about 3 or 4. I've smoked the Dauber, very, very, very powerful punch in the Dauber. Um, uh, he actually hit me back. He was like, "Yeah, man, I like real strong peppery." And I told him like, "Yeah, it packs a punch." yeah, yeah, the Dauber packs a punch.
Yeah, it's Drew Dober. He's got the most knockouts in lightweight history. He's as awesome of a fighter as he's that not you know spectrum as well. So great guy.
Yeah, yeah. For being able to reach out to him and show him that hey, I really appreciate what he's doing with you guys through you guys um, was amazing. And then we had Cub Swanson. Um, I thoroughly enjoyed his stick. The cream wood is kind of smooth. He's a smooth dude. So I really love the how you came about matching the blends with the particular fighters.
Yeah, and it definitely depends on the fighter. A lot of these guys are pretty hardcore cigar smokers. Drew Dober, like I want Nicaraguan, I want Maduro, like do exactly what he wanted. So
Mm,
come up with a stick that he's happy to put his name on. Main Sterling, former champion. We were just talking about the Funk Master. He loved cigar. We about I was in a wedding, I guess about 3-4 months ago, and we had a bunch of sticks there for the guests. Everybody was real happy, which made Mr. Cruz Sterling very happy. Which cool, right? Got to make my man.
yeah. Well, another thing I wanted to know is like why UFC fighters? Because like I guess that goes into like if you're a badass, you're usually smoking a cigar, right? So
The reality is, like, even as amazing Muhammad Ali was, that the guy probably is going to lose 99% of the time there with a UFC fighter, and that's all due respect to Muhammad Ali. But mixed martial arts you how to do everything. Like there was a fight where James Toney, another amazingly awesome fighter, a boxer, but he got in there with a UFC guy, and the guy just drags him down and beat him up the whole time. So UFC, you're just the baddest people in history from my point of view. You're not using nunchuck swords or something.
right.
But it just made sense to me. It's I've been smoking cigars a long time. I'm a massive UFC fan. I've been following UFC for a long time. I love memorabilia. I probably got one of the, I say top 3 collections on the planet when it comes to actual UFC memorabilia, like one. Like
Mm.
Gober's last fight, we were just talking about Drew. His last fight, he had 21 knockouts in the UFC, which made him #1 weight class. So that
Yeah.
or to the octagon, I won that on auction. So I'm in possession of Aljamain Sterling's last fight. I've got his shirt at my house.
Wow.
Get it framed, stuff like that. So, I was collecting a lot of memorabilia before this idea ever came up, which the actual idea is less than a year old, or just a little bit more than a year old. I'd say end of November in 24 is when my business partner O'Day and I came up with the idea. I befriended him over the last few years, and we developed a friendship and came up with the idea. He was down, and we've been able to get connected with a lot of great fighters through O'Day, because you may or may not know O'Day Osborne, but he's genuinely one of the nicest people you'd ever meet. So he's got lots of friendships within the UFC, outside of the UFC, and so it just made sense to create an opportunity for these guys. Basically, we do cigars, but we've got a lot of memorabilia that goes along with it.
Right.
So
So with it, it's a lot of fanfare, but a lot of admiration through it. Me myself, I was a wrestler in school, so it falls right in line. Like it just makes sense for me to be a UFC or MMA fighter fanatic, right?
Sure.
And so when I was looking at the line, I was like, "Yo, we got to get you on. I got to try these. I got to try these cigars. I got to try these sticks." And very, very surprised that they held true to nature behind each fighter, right? With what you're doing, because you're coming from both angles as a passion of love, right? For your love of the sport of MMA, and then the love of cigars. Um, how are you able to keep the awe, like when you see your someone that you're a fan of, and like you don't fanboy out, right? Because sometimes you got to taper it back, and then it's like, hey, no, you want to do business with us. I appreciate your work, but this is how do you go about doing making those connections?
No, I tell you, that's a really great question. Actually, first time I got around, so let's see, it was Miami. I'm sorry, it was actually California. So earlier last year, Jamal Hill fought Yuri Prohaska. Speaking of wrestlers, that's Clay Guida right there. Huge,
Yeah.
long-term, badass wrestler, UFC Hall of Famer legend.
Mm-hmm.
But who's wrestling in RAF right now?
Hey, RAF is turning out some good stuff. Their new league. I don't know how long RAF has been around, but it seemed like they've come out of nowhere with this mass marketing push, and just like with I don't know if you've seen Muggsy, the dude Muggsy, that he's been doing a lot of like exhibition matches, and I saw Yoel Romero,
yeah,
and I was like, wow, okay, so this is really a thing.
It's fun, and you know what? I mean, it's really smart, because a lot of people want to see that. They want to see the amazing wrestlers going at it. Now, wrestlers in college, maybe they have some opportunities post college to pursue their passion for wrestling and go to a league. But earlier, the fanboy thing, because it was really important. The first got around or Alex Pereira, or started getting around some of these type of big names. It is important not to fanboy out. It's Cub Swanson specifically said to me when we were driving to go do our podcast. When I met Cub, I just approached him as a human being. He's just obviously someone I'm a fan of. Really cool for me being a fan, being around someone like Cub Swanson. But you just really have to take the approach that I belong here. This, we're talking business, and Of course, somebody like Cub, he's looking for opportunities. He just announced his last fight, by the way, coming up in April of Miami. I'm probably going to get down to Miami and do some stuff there, support him for his, I believe it's going to be his last fight. I just literally announced that today. Told me about that a while back, but I had to be a little hush about it. But these guys are looking for opportunities as well.
Right.
Be able to present them an opportunity where I can partner up with someone like a Cub Swanson or Aljamain Sterling. And actually, one of the coolest things is getting to develop those relationships like I have. But at the end of the day, they're human beings. They're looking to capitalize on that brand. They want to believe in what they're doing. So it was real important to me that we had truly quality product. And I believe with all my heart that a lot of people might try it 1 or 2 times because of the name, UFC and all that. But cigar smokers in particular, they're not going to keep buying a cigar that they don't genuinely love.
Right.
And so to me, that's where it was important for us to make a product that 20, 30, 100 years from now, we're making a great product that some guy or girl is smoking 30 years from now, never really even watched Cub fight, but they love the cigar.
Right.
And so that was important to me to create something that was long-term, that they could be proud to put their name on this thing. And, again, I felt like 90% of the cigar smokers out there are not necessarily hardcore. They're not pulling out hints of pepper and leather and things like that. They just know whether they like it or not. But I wanted the mature cigar smoker to pick up this product, try it out because it's Cub Swanson or, Elijah Smith or Nick fill in the blank, and then try the cigar and they see the structure. They get the right draw. They get that, when you posted the Elijah Smith, the butt was like half the cigar.
Yeah, the ash.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we got a real product here,
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, because like on my hierarchy as like my hobbies of what I like to do, right? It's cigars, it's football, UFC, right? Any competitive fighting of that nature, those are my 3 hobbies. We can pour in like whiskey tastings and all that, and somewhere in beneath that. But for me, it's going to be cigars, it's going to be football, and it's going to be fighting, MMA, right? So this is you're right in my top 3 wheelhouses, because you knock out 2 of my top 3 of. Okay, you say cigars, you had my attention, right? And now you're talking about UFC. Now you've piqued my interest. So let's deep dive into that. And man, I appreciate you really like taking the time out to show us why we should be getting more involved with Triumph cigars.
And just from your perspective, how cool is it when you smoke an Elijah Smith, you tag him, and then he actually replies to you?
Oh man, that's dope. Like, because like you see the blue check on their names, right? And you think someone else is gonna respond to it or whatever, but it's actually their personal IG or their personal Facebook and everything, and we're able to actually have a conversation about their product, and most importantly is cigars, right? And so they can tell me why they like what you've done with them as far as like producing a product with their name on it. Because at the end of the day, like we're not going to know what your work as far as like your fights unless we go back and watch, the chronicles and pick up on YouTube. But for a cigar smoker, we're going to know what your cigar product is in this industry. We're going to know that footnote, and it'll last way longer if you have a great product out there in the market, right? Than your fight, because like winning for Cub winning fight of the year, right? I didn't know or remember that until you brought it back up, and then I had to go rewatch it. But like the cigar itself is going to be prevalent in my mind because it fits my palate, and it was a damn good stick. Like the construction of it was magnificent. Um, for you with your process, how do you go about like talking to your blender? Are you the blender, or um, run me through your process of having to create the product for the fighter and actually matching up that name for that particular fighter?
I've been real fortunate to have a couple great contacts in the security or the security. I was in security for 25 years, but to be able to partner with Mario Campbell or Walter Santiago, both very passionate about quality cigars, been doing this for 20 years, so I rely heavily upon their experience with experience product. Fortunate that I have when I say, hey, we need something with Pagaro, or we need Mantra, or we're seeing a lot of these. You don't have many Robusto for your line. So, and, so I've got a couple guys that are really, really passionate, really knowledgeable about creating those blends. Just understanding the process, make sure we're not shortcut, make sure we've got half the cigars, not got a bunch in the back. So, they're documenting along or I'm reminded of a quote. They were trying to Ford look stupid. You went. They were asking him a bunch of detailed questions that he didn't know. If I need these things, I go find people that can get the best spot. My doors, dark or dark wallet or in every single area. Great to get all the books. You get a CFO to handle a lot of things. Long short is I've got great for helpful to whatever blend.
Mm. Okay.
And we got stuff coming from Nicaragua. We got stuff from Dominican Republic as well. So long term, blend from all over the world, really. The great thing about UFC, especially Paramount, the great thing about UFC is it's a worldwide sport. But, but let's face it, majority of NFL fans in the United States, UFC worldwide sport.
Right. And I love that because with it being a worldwide sport, you open up your reach, right? And so now you're able to extend out into other markets, especially if say a fighter is going to be from Russia or from where's uh Makamedov from? He's from,
let's call it Russia.
Yeah, well, that region of the world, right? And
like a lot of those guys, if they're generally speaking, if they're coming from a Muslim background, they may not be big cigar smokers. That's okay. At the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of people out there that smoke cigars in every country in the world.
Well, or Conor McGregor. Well, since we'll go that route, because like he's not a Muslim. It's was Irish.
Yeah, he's Irish, and
he's Irish, and he has proper 12. And you know what? Come up with a proper 12 cigar that'll pair well with proper 12. I think that'll be something that can move.
Well, you know what? Connor actually came up, so I came up with this idea right around December of last year, a little over a year ago. Conor McGregor launched a cigar called Notorious, which or cigar.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, put a fire in my ass. Okay, I got this. I get my thing going because I still think they come out with a cigar and they're going to retailers and things like that. But we're bringing memorabilia. We're bringing autographed doors, photos. We're doing giveaways. There's to win some real exclusive memorabilia to where we've got some. Let's call it 1.5. Let's say Algernon Sterling. All right, we've got photographs where photo of him smoking a cigar, but we have 1.5
right
autographed. They're authentic. We'll give those away. We're giving them away to retailers. They're available to sell, but we're creating memorabilia to go with it. So when you got your man cave cigar room, got all this exclusive memorabilia on the wall, it adds to that. Add to your man.
that adds to the full nostalgia of everything.
You're down there smoking some, Funk Master cigars, Funk Master stuff on the wall. You're watching UFC in your basement with the boys. Like the whole experience. It's it's a lifestyle. After the whole vibe.
So I'm smoking Clay Gouda, the Carpenter.
Yep.
Right. And it's a woody cream flavored note with a touch of pepper to it. This is my blind review, by the way. This is a blind review. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is a blind review. I have yet to smoke this, and I'm smoking it now. I wanted to smoke it in front of him.
4-year aged wrapper. It's Habano. It's from Nicaragua. Tito Gomez is the factory that makes those for us. Yeah, Mario Carabello, who's my guy that got it and helped us with those. Cigar, that's one of the ones I generally lead with. Such a great cigar. And Clay Guida, Hall of Famer, he is serious about the cigars. Dude loves cigars.
Yeah, and this is definitely a good one. It's definitely a good one. I'd recommend this one to anybody that has a similar palate as to mine. I was wondering if it's going to start making me salivate. We're starting to salivate a little bit to it.
And that thing's going to start to sweeten up on you just a touch as you get through that first quarter, first third, something like that.
I can sense that.
And
I can sense that.
Someone like Clay, he's not putting his name on a cigar he doesn't believe in.
Right.
He loves his cigar, which makes me happy. Because again, I'm a Clay Guida fan. He's one of those fan favorites, man. He always brought it every time he entered that octagon. He brought 110%. And favorite he fought for so long too. I think he's got 30 fights in the UFC. Crazy.
Yeah, and so what? It's so funny because now you're re-engaging another fan base to become a fan of the fighter themselves, because the product that we're putting up in the air makes you want to like, okay, who is this guy? What was this guy? And going back and rewatching some of his fights, and you're like, now we're becoming more of a fan, not only of the man himself, but also of the quality stick that he's putting out.
You mentioned that, and I hadn't even thought about that until recently. But as we're creating content for the cigars, and I'm going through and watching some of these old, cigar brand former crew when one fighter, just such.
I don't. Give me a second. I'm not sure what it is, but we can barely hear you cutting in and out.
Okay. Well, I'm on the Wi-Fi, so hopefully it's okay.
Yeah. See if you can get closer to the camera a little bit. See if it'll pick up a little better.
How's that working?
That I think that's better because cutting in and out, but we'll keep rocking. But
All right.
I want to make sure we get everything that you're saying because you got a lot of good stuff going.
What I used to say in the security industry, because we did electronic security cameras and all that stuff, and like security's great or electronics technology is great when it works, but it is a pain when it doesn't.
When it doesn't work, because then you got to get the tech guys over there teching on stuff, and then the tech guys do this.
You got to love it if you're a tech guy. Thank God for him.
Yeah, man. So you're Air Force, right?
I was Army 82nd Airborne Division.
Airborne.
Air Force used to throw us out of the planes.
So were you a Ranger?
I was in 82nd Airborne Division. I just did my 3 years and got out. So closest thing we ever, I was in from 92 to 95. The closest thing we ever got to do was we almost jumped into Haiti in 1994.
Oh, wow.
No, never shot anybody.
Oh, okay. So how many jumps did you do, if you don't mind me asking?
28.
28 jumps?
Okay, yep.
What is... I have a few friends that were jumping out of airplanes. So I'm like, I always like hearing the stories of their experiences because like did you ever hurt yourself when you had to jump out, and what's that experience like?
I tell you, generally speaking, it's super fun, but in the military, it's not necessarily as fun as just probably, Halo, which is high altitude, low opening, where you're falling for a while. We weren't doing that. So when we did it, I've got 40, 50 pounds of gear on me. I've got my M16 rifle on the side, and it's not like a sport parachute. So you count down to 1,000, 2, 1,000. If you get to like 5 or 6, it means your chute didn't open. It's a static line. When you jump out of the plane, there's basically you hang your the
ripcord.
Not your rope, not the ripcord. It's basically your static line. That's the word I'm thinking of. And that to the jump master, you jump out, and as you jump out, it automatically pulls your chute. And so being in the military, you don't want to hang up in the air too long because then you're letting people take shots at you.
Right.
So, generally speaking, we're jumping from, I think it was 1,800, 1,500 feet, something like that. So your chute opens, and then you're hitting the ground pretty quickly. But I did have a bad jump one time where I smacked the hell out of my head on Nijmegen drop zone at Fort Bragg. And, those things, I was dazed and, rung my bell pretty good to where the wind was really bad that day and it was dragging me across the drop zone.
Oh, man.
Pulled my riser to let go of one of the things and just laid there for a second just to get my bearings. But that was, other than that, it was the only other time I was actually, I'm glad I didn't get in trouble for this because I was cussing at an officer mid-air because he had a deer in his headlights look. I don't know if he was, new to jumping or something, but when you jump out of the planes, you got people, let's say my head is the plane, you got people coming out of both sides.
Right.
So what happens, the chutes can open up simultaneously and you go right in front of each other. And so what'll happen is if one goes underneath the other one, it'll steal your air. The guy was coming right at me and I'm pulling, trying to get away from him. I'm cussing at this guy.
Yeah.
And he got close enough that I saw he was like a lieutenant. So, maybe he couldn't find me or something because I was telling him, like, I'm cussing this guy, like, get the F away from me.
Right.
What happen is if he steals my air, you start leapfrogging and one of us is going to hit the ground really hard.
Right.
So, you want to avoid other folks in the air because in a combat drop, I mean, you're dropping hundreds of people at one time. So, you avoid other people in the air, but generally speaking, it normally goes off with a hitch. Those are the only 2 times that I really had any issues. Other than that, it was generally, kind of fun jumping out. It's the waiting for an hour or 2 ahead of time when you got all that stuff on. You're just sitting there waiting for the planes to get ready and waiting for everybody to get ready. That was the tough part.
Yeah. And see, it's funny because I like hearing the military stories of like what you actually did and stuff like that, because it's not sport, right? That's some real like, oh man, That's how bad it can get.
Training to be in a real situation. I will say there's one other time I just thought about where the Air Force, I think they called it nap of the earth, which is like super low, but they would simulate going, staying real low to the horizon. And this plane is just doing this, and it had people throwing up left and right. And, probably the Air Force breaking our balls, right?
Mm-hmm.
I never threw up. I don't get seasick or anything like that. But I'll tell you what, the stench in the plane was enough to make you want to throw up. Like, I couldn't wait to get out of the plane from the.
Oh, wow.
If it would have been another 10 minutes, I don't know if I could have held back. But that was another time. That was, I'm sure the Air Force got a kick out of that. The Air Force pilots just having a blast with us back there.
I can imagine.
But it's all good. I mean, I made my first jump as a 17-year-old kid. Growing up, I didn't really have great opportunities, single mom, and I wanted college money. And that was a good way to get my feet underneath me, get a car. As a young kid, all you're thinking about is the car, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you get some credit started, you get your car, and but it, I got out of the military at 20 years old as a sergeant, so got started, got a great launch in life, and I give the military a lot of credit to a lot of lessons learned.
Man, well, thank you for your service.
Well, thank you,
and sharing your stories, man. I can listen all day because like a lot of times I smoke cigars with a lot of military vets or people that are still in the service, and I just it's good. It's great conversation, bro. Y'all able to take off the edge and really talk about different things, and like I'm in awe, right? I spent a lot of time in El Paso over in Fort Bliss around the military base and providing like tax services to the military base, so I'm able to really be really engaged in understanding what military life is like. Because I didn't serve myself, but I admire I admire those who did.
Someone I asked with I can try to get you guys linked up. His name is Jason Link, great guy. But did you ever see the movie Black Hawk Down?
Yes.
He was one of the Delta guys that was on the ground for all that. He got a purple, actually technically a couple Purple Hearts for that, although he denied the first one because it was basically a concussion. Then he ended up getting some real stuff. But that being said, great guy, talks about his experiences over there in the military, and he actually used ayahuasca. He's got a great story. Super good guy, big cigar smoker. So we were able to do a pretty cool podcast with him. I might be able to get you guys linked up because he's got some great stories.
Man, that's phenomenal. I would love that. I would love the opportunity of that.
Yeah, he's a super. Last couple of cigars I bought that weren't my own were Hooten. Who's one of the guys that were over there. He's got a cigar line now, pretty damn good cigars as well. But all the respect in the world for the guys that went over there and did that stuff and actually saw some real stuff, not the stuff I saw.
I mean, you was there.
I would have wrong. I would have done it, and I think there's always part of you that I want to see what would have happened. Put me in those environments. I think I would have done well, but it wasn't in the cards for me, and I'm okay with it. I didn't lose any limbs or anything like that. So I'm real big with obviously Veteran Foundation. But we're looking at doing bless you. We're looking at that pepper's kicking in over there.
Yeah, it is.
We're looking at doing a couple veteran cigars for veteran organizations here that'll fit right in nicely with a lot of our lines. That basically what we'll do is we'll give $1 back to the veteran organization out of the cost of the cigar, the product when we start selling it. So Jason Link's actually talking to a couple people for us, and would love to just do things like that to be able to help support the veteran community and give back to those guys that, gave up a lot for us.
That's powerful. So we talked a little bit earlier. You got a lot of windshield time ahead of you, right? So you're going to be traveling pretty much all across the United States. What has it been like going into these cigar lounges and pitching your cigars and really having a smoke time
I'll
with the
tell you,
lounge owners.
it's been super fun. I mean, you get to meet so many great people, and generally speaking, I'm sure you can attest to this. You go into a cigar lounge, generally speaking, I mean, people are nice, people are willing to talk and sit down and relax. And if I'm going to talk business, I mean, over a cigar and a little sip of tequila or some nice Funk Harbor aged rum, something super tasty. Um, I mean, it's sales. It is a little exhausting traveling around and living out of your suitcase and things like that. But I'm an old school hardcore sales guy, and
Yeah,
where you just do whatever the F it takes and move forward. And you know, we've made a lot of mistakes so far because it's my first time building a cigar company. Things I'd do differently, um, but in the grand scheme of things, I think it's been super fun. People have been very receptive. I think we're bringing something very unique to the industry. So, from a cigar retailer point of view, generally speaking, they've got great cigars, and let's face it, there's a lot of great quality cigars out there. But with our
right.
product, so a retailer, when we go in, you get autographed humidor with your first order.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
so you get something really cool, and then we end up replacing it with regular boxes and things down the line.
Mhm.
And then they can use that for raffles or giveaways or things like that. And then for retailers, every 100 cigars that they sell, they get an autographed photo from our athletes. So
Mm.
they can put that in their shop. They can use it as raffles. A lot of the cigar retailers I've encountered, they're very involved with the community, doing different events and things like that. So they can use that as a way to generate some money for some local charities they're doing events for and promoting. So we're bringing a lot of memorabilia in addition to great cigars, in addition to a nice healthy margin uh,
Right.
for a product that I think is going to sell really well. And they'll coming back to what I said before, they might generally try it one or two times, but then when they find out, wait, this is actually a really good cigar.
Right.
Now you got now you got a long term cigar that I think is going to stick for a long time, and people are going to enjoy the product. And for a young like Elijah Smith, a young G coming up. He's 3-0 in the UFC. That kid's going to be fighting for a long time. He's got championship potential. So when you're smoking his cigar, he's got a fight coming up in a month or two. And now
Mm.
sit there and smoke a Swift after he just gets, he goes out and whoops some ass, and you can smoke the Swift, and you're living this journey with him now as part of it, smoking his cigar.
Right.
Other thing too that I think is important to kind of bring up a negative. The one negative I've heard about the UFC over the years, fighter pay. You know,
Mm.
so, so when we bring on a young fighter like an Elijah Smith, who's on his way up, he's still working full time at his job. But
Right.
as we're out there building his brand with his cigar, and he's generating income for him and his family, now
Mm.
to leave that job quicker as we're building his base foundation. Or, for example, even as a hardcore fighter, I didn't even really think about this before, but like Evan Elder, who's become a pretty good friend to me. He actually told me a minute ago he's going to water my plants in Las Vegas. Such a good dude. Um, but when he was training for his fight in Australia recently, he got injured. And a lot of people don't realize, fighters are subcontractors. So somebody like Evan Elder, who was 3 or 4 weeks out from his fight in Australia, he gets hurt. Now he's not getting paid.
Right.
So he's not only recovering from a painful injury, but he's not making money.
Right.
So what I'm hoping to bring to these guys is a revenue stream to where, if they're making 30, 40 grand a year from their cigars as we build our company and they're making money, now it
Right.
gives that young up and coming fighter some financial stability in case he does get hurt,
Mm.
or in case he has some adversity, or maybe it's a typical fighter. Maybe he's in the UFC for 3 or 4 years and then he's out, but he's got a great cigar that continues to sell over the years that people keep buying because it's a great cigar.
Right. And
So
see that's important because like a lot of times like training costs, right? Someone's got to pay for the training. You still
yeah,
got to pay for how you eat and how you recover. And recovery is huge. We saw that the last guy who passed out at weigh-ins, right?
Yeah, young guy.
Yeah, young guy. So probably had to cut like 20-30 pounds just to make weight at 135. Yeah, it's 135.4 is what he weighed in at, I think.
And
And I
then
was like,
he passes out. They have to cancel the fight because you can't send this, fighter out there like that. And now the kid's not getting paid.
exactly.
He
And
did
so
all to get ready for the fight, and basically, you know, 20 seconds, 30 seconds difference. He's backstage, he's sitting down, he's getting hydrated, and he can fight. But because of that happened, he probably pushed himself so hard to make weight. Now he's not getting paid. And a
right,
lot of people might demonize the UFC, but he's a subcontractor, but if we had a, Smotherman cigar, and even if it's only $1,000 a month he's making, because it's not a big name and we're not in, 1,000 retailers yet or something like that.
right.
But when you're on the up and coming, you're a young guy, $1,000 a month means something.
Yeah, hell, it'll definitely put some groceries in the fridge for
Yeah.
sure.
And to your point, they're paying coaches, they're paying for memberships, they're paying for supplements, they're committing so much time and energy to try to, you know, uh, build their MMA career. And those are the things I think about. Or the other side of that is an OG UFC fighter that maybe didn't get to capitalize on his brand,
Right,
because maybe he fought in the 2000s and he's got a big name, but it's not like he's making $100,000 a year doing nothing.
right,
So
right.
that's kind of our approach, and to have a platform where we've got all of these guys in one place and a line that we can put out there. A lot of the fighters are really excited about it, and they're probably half as excited as I am, because I'm just fanboy for sure.
But I mean, it's different when, like, no, I have a business. I'm a fan of you, but I also want to make sure that it all makes sense, right? Because for me, I'm business has to make sense in light of our hobbies and our passions, right? And so I love how you've matched everything that you love about you with with other people that can buy into the product, and you put out a really good quality product. I wanted to give you your flowers while we're on camera, because I've smoked like 3 or 4 of them so far, and they haven't missed. They haven't missed. Even Dobers, which is one peppery punch. Like is punchy all the way through, and I mean, like, it's powerful. And he told me himself, like, yeah, man, I like a lot of spice. And I was like, I thought it was gonna let up, and it didn't let up not once. And I was like, oh, okay.
I,
So we can take our time with this. This is gonna last a whole UFC card.
yeah, I probably shouldn't have favorites like a parent or something, but that's, to me, that Nicaraguan Maduro is probably one of my favorites for my palate. But
Mm-hmm.
the other thing I did is, when we sent you those, I sent you different regions. So I sent you the Swift, which is made in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
You the Killer Cub, which is made in Dominican Republic, and
Right.
you the Carpenter and the Dober. Those are Nicaragua. So I feel it's important for somebody like yourself to see, no matter what region you're getting our cigar, it's a good quality cigar.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for someone like me, I have a vast palate, right? So I'm if it's a good cigar, I'm gonna find things that I enjoy particularly about it. Um, I do have my favorites, right? And I do have my my go tos, but for me, it's like, okay, what do we have on the menu? And let's take our pick. And I love that about Triumph cigars. It's like your menu is very vast. Like there's something for everybody on here.
Yeah,
So
we got people in the pipeline. We've got Charlie Campbell is coming on, the Cannibal. We got Leah Gotti, a Misfits boxer. We got Ian Butler, who's got a great story. Long time wrestler, great guy. So we've got plenty more in the pipeline, and I'll tell you, we've got several big names in the pipeline, and we can get some really big names.
Mm-hmm.
I've a little bit of work to do, like you said, going across the country, creating the demand, laying the foundation.
Right.
I mean, golly, we've got probably $1.5 million worth of cigars sitting here in Raleigh. And
Man.
so, that, well, it was important to me. I didn't want to, create a big buzz and then run out of product too quickly. So we got a lot of product.
Right.
So now it's my job as the sales guy. Like, we got to move product. So that's what we're working on now.
So now you say you wish you would have known some of the pitfalls that you had, right? Tell me some of the pitfalls that you made that you can help shine some light on other people that are looking to get into the cigar brand business.
I'm glad you brought that up, because there are several things I would have done differently. Number one, you're dealing with the government to get your licensing. And for us, it was North Carolina, which is where we're shipping. What you may not realize, like for us, I guess North Carolina is a little more particular, but so we applied for our surety bond at the time in Nevada. So we get this professional company to do our surety bond because we want to make sure we're doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
They overnight it to me in Nevada, Las Vegas, Henderson. I run out to my bank. I go get those things notarized. We overnight it back to North Carolina to my office. Julie, our COO, the secret behind the success of the company,
right,
gets that over to North Carolina Department of Revenue. About a week and a half later, we get denied. And it was denied because when we did Triumph Cigars LLC, we had Triumph Cigars, LLC. They denied it because we had a comma.
Jesus Christ.
So we find out, now we got to get the surety bond to issue this thing again. Overnight it. Of course, we're paying for all these overnights and all this stuff every time. So overnight it to me in Nevada. I get the signature. I overnight it to Julie. Julie sends it to DOR. We get denied a second time, like a week and a half later. It was denied this time because Triumph Cigars LLC was not in all capital letters. So we have to go get this issued again overnight. Julie this time drives it to Department of Revenue with and like, can somebody look this over before we turn it in?
Right.
So it basically added like 3 to 4 weeks to the process of starting to get licensed. I would have done that day one. Get the government licensing as quickly as possible. So we did that towards the middle back half of what we did. Meanwhile, a small business owner, I've got payroll, I've got bills, I've got retail, not retail, we've got spaces we're paying for. So there was that, and then credit card processing takes about a month to get approved for tobacco. And so meanwhile, I go to get our credit card, thinking, okay, when I started my security company, it was like 24 hours. I had credit cards.
Right.
It took about a month for that to happen. So basically, the process was delayed 2 months, which probably cost me somewhere between $100,000 to $200,000.
Jesus.
In expenses, because not only am I paying for employees and retail space and all this kind of stuff, but now we've got shipments of cigars arriving at 30, 40, 50,000 at a time.
Right.
And so, as this keeps coming in, I'm hemorrhaging cash. Our humidor is getting packed because we were expecting to be open and moving product. So it created this cash flow situation, created an inventory situation. It's like, man, can I get these doors open? So for us, we missed Black Friday, we missed Cyber Monday, we missed Christmas. We opened up for 16th when everybody's out of cash, basically.
Right. So now you have a good problem, but it's a problem nonetheless.
It's one of those things that's adapt, overcome, improvise, but it's one of those things that wasn't ideal. It wasn't something I planned on. And, the number one thing that a business fails over is lack of capital.
Right.
Fortunately, I sold a company in May, so I had a decent amount of capital to work with. But when you're talking $100,000-$200,000, I mean, that's
There's not a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, that's a lot of money for a little guy like me. So, that's why we're sitting on $1.5 million worth of product. And I mean, I haven't taken a paycheck in 8 months. But I've had people on payroll for 8 months.
8 months, right? And that's the other side of the business, right? And that's part of the, this is why I do Boss Talks, is so everybody can understand the gravity of the situation when you go and start in a business and all the bills are on you. So you got to figure out different kind of ways to make these things happen, because these are still pivotal things that need to happen for your business.
Yeah. So that I would say that's one of the biggest things that if I could go back in time and do differently, that would have made things. I mean, I'd have an extra 2 months under my belt right now of opening, making adjustments, learning things. Like we started off selling 10 packs originally. Then we dropped down to 4 packs just because learning that cigar people to drop $150 on a 10 pack when you've never tried the product, that's kind of a big investment.
Yes.
And, getting 1 or 2 cigars in the consumer's hand via the internet is not very practical because you got to ship them. You got to, signature received is required out of North Carolina for our license. So and an extra $5, they got to be there to sign for that package. So there's just a lot of things we're learning along the way. And that's the life of an entrepreneur, is you got to stay flexible. You got to just be willing to work 7 days a week. And I knew this going into it. Unfortunately, I love what I'm doing. Like I do this for free, I really would. It's that fun interacting with the fighters and things like that. But at the end of the day, that's not my goal to work for free for the rest of my life.
Right.
I'm fortunate that I'm doing stuff I love. I'm doing podcasts with some of my heroes and fighters and things like that, and interacting with these guys on a regular basis. And speaking of which, would you mind texting Evan my address? So Julie's helping me out over here. We're smoking a cigar as we're talking.
What up, Julie? Julie's the muscle behind the beauty. She's the brains and the beauty.
She's, Julie has worked with me in the security industry for a long time as well. And, I think being an entrepreneur, coming back to that, is you got to have people that are good at what you're not. Like, I'm not a details person. I'm a 50,000 foot view. Get me on a podcast, put me in a room to talk to 20,000 people. I have no problem with any of that. Making my first sales call, having never done this before, I don't care. Just give me a box of cigars and some of our stuff. Like, I'll go figure it out.
Right.
Along the way, and I'm making those adjustments. But she's really great at a lot of things that I'm not good at in terms of spread, dotting the I's, crossing the T's. Like, I'm up here at 50,000 feet going fast. I see the forest and not the trees. Whereas
right.
Entrepreneur, you got to know yourself. And so I got to have people that can see the trees really well, because I don't look at the trees.
Not at all.
I see the forest.
Yeah. So we see the whole forest. We're viewing, surveying the land. Okay, well, now we can take it over here. We can take it over here. But the people that are supporting cast, they're like, okay, well, we got to get through this first. And I think that's amazing, because you got to have somebody that can help you maintain a pace, right?
And the other thing, call you on your bullshit. Be able to point out gaps in your. Be able to look at things from a different point of view and have the guts to talk about it, not be a yes person, and be able to challenge you on things. And her and I we have our little spats all the time over us seeing things differently. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't want it any different.
Right.
And I love that about Julie in particular. I'm not just saying that because she's sitting here, but it helps us see things from multiple angles. If you're inside of your home right now, you can't see what's going on outside of your home. But if you've got a second set of eyeballs that can, it helps you be better prepared for whatever the situation. And
right. So seeing the forest, what does that look like for you as like your general overview for Triumph Cigars going forward?
Yeah, we're just going to continue bringing on athletes of all different backgrounds, influencers from all different backgrounds, putting out great product. We've got a real heavy focus on customer satisfaction and communication. That's where Julie's specialty. If we have someone that emails us with an issue or something like that, we want to get back to them quickly. We actually even had someone compliment Julie, like it was a situation where the post office said they couldn't deliver or something like that, or some nonsense, right? And so we got back to him right away. We just
And so you have Julie is the muscle. and,
That's
and
right.
That's what I'm talking about, Julie. You're the muscle back there. I love that. And so I wonder, I love that about that, because it also leads into my next deal, like how the women of the cigar industry are really pushing us forward, as we're tackling new things in this cigar industry that normally we wouldn't be involved in. So what does that look like for you, as far as like having a woman behind the brand for you?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, for me personally, I don't personally care if it's a man or a woman or their sexuality. I don't care about any of that stuff, right? It's like, do I have somebody that complements me as an entrepreneur? And as long as they've got the qualities that I'm looking for, that's the important thing. But I do feel that women enjoying cigars, I'm starting to get the impression that there's a lot more women out there that are really starting to enjoy cigars. Not dude, but the way to just sit back and relax. A world that's so fast, a world that we're constantly being bombarded with narratives or stuff. Some of the best conversations when you're just sitting back smoking a cigar with someone. Just helping people live in the present. Getting off your phone, getting away from technology, just enjoying the present. I do my best thing when I'm sitting there smoking a cigar. I, Regardless of sex, I think you can accomplish things. Not everybody's going to get the flying Learjet or drive a Ferrari or something, but we all can smoke a premium cigar, celebrate the little victories. You know what? I paid my child support this month. I paid my mortgage. I accomplished a new level of whatever. You know what? I deserve a cigar, and I'm going to sit back and enjoy my premium $15 cigar that I put up against a bunch of $30 and $50 cigars all day long. But to just sit back and enjoy something premium that I know somewhere in the world, Aljamain Sterling is smoking one of these in the next 48 hours, most likely as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like a former smoking a premium quality cigar and say, you know what? All my bills this month, best month this month. Uh, let's say people that have goals, like I accomplished towards my goal this year already, and I'm going to celebrate.
Right. And that's one of the things that I love about cigars itself. Like, it's celebratory, or it's a way to think out the day, right? Because when I'm smoking either to help me get through my work, or I'm smoking just to take the edge off the day. Either way, I'm smoking a cigar, and we're gonna ride out the day just fine.
Yeah. I call it get a little bit of just a puff of alpha, get some of that alpha energy to you, to where, like, you know what, life is a MFer sometimes, right? It'll beat us up, things go wrong or this and that. This is a chance to say, you know what, it's not about things being, or it's about me being the cigar. I'm going to sit here and think about it. I joke around like we've had adversity, this and that. And I say all the time, somebody like Elon Musk would laugh at my adversity.
Right.
He's got rockets blowing up. He's got Teslas, malfunctioning or whatever you want to say. He's bought Twitter and he's got all that stuff going on. Like, I don't even know how that guy gets through a day. Like, how are you managing tens of thousands of employees, multiple businesses, and all that? And so when I sit back and think of something like that, and I'm smoking a cigar, and then I hope you don't mind me using this kind of language, but sometimes I think about things I'm stressed about, and by the end of the cigar, like I'm like, man, quit being a bitch. Just go get it. Go make it happen. Overcome, improvise. Just get through it.
At the end of the day, fuck it.
What else are we doing? If we're not goals, what else are we here for? We got to enjoy the journey and go do something with our life worthwhile. And by the end of that cigar, I'm kind of recharged. Like I'm, I got that Muhammad Ali kind of energy after that cigar, like
the
greatest in the world. I'm
that part. Like, you know what? I'm not doing too bad. and to the Elon Musk point that you brought up is how do you eliminate noise, right? Because there's always going to be something that's going on to add as a distraction, and it's really noise. And I think at that level, at that high volume, and at our levels where we got how well are we eliminating the noise, right? To take away from our focus. Are we drowning out the background noise? Because there's always something. The dog is barking to get attention. The kids are chirping because whatever's going on with the kids. They want to go outside and slide on the ice that's got it snowed in right now. Being able to eliminate those noise and handle it as it comes, I think is our arena, right? That's the arena that we're living in, and we got to eliminate the crowd noise.
And I think it's a muscle. I think it's something you keep working on. You got to, I'm real big on 95% of what I'm focused on, 95% of where my energy goes. It needs to be on something that's helping improve my life and the people around me. And, watching the next episode of Landman is not 95%. I think you got to have 5% to decompress.
Right.
Am I meditating? That's my 95%. Am I talking to another retailer about my product? That's 95%. Am I making time to have a boss talk with someone that can push things forward and spreading the message? So I think it's a muscle. I think you have to be self-aware that, you know what, I pissed away a lot of time today on Facebook or fill in the blank, right? Whatever it is, too much TV. And I just think it's something we all have to look at the end of the day and say, did I really put in 95% of my energy into things where I'm getting a return on my investment, helping me accomplish my goal, and just being honest with ourselves and say, you know what, I really didn't do a good job today. I got to do better tomorrow.
Right. And that is powerful in itself, right? And that's what a lot of cigars do for me. And going forward, that's what the Carpenter is going to do for me, because I really enjoyed this one.
Awesome. Clay's going to love to hear that.
I saved it for last, and I was just like, I'm gonna go through them, and I'm gonna give my real good feedback on it. I really want to be able to sit here and say, hey, go back to the drawing board, right? Because I feel like if I go in with no expectations, I'm always wonderfully surprised, right? And I was wonderfully surprised with the products that you sent me, like the Dauber. Like I smoked it last night, and I was just like, wow, well shit, this Denver game got a whole lot better.
It's a little bit of pressure that I deal with is like everybody around me can kick my ass, so I don't want them disappointed in their product,
That part.
My ass. I got a lot of people keeping me on my toes.
Absolutely. So to help with retail, you said we're doing a gift giveaway, right?
Yep.
And we're doing 20% on the next online orders, correct?
Yeah. So what we're doing for today, anybody watching this, we'll give you 20% off. It's KPLUX, KPLUX. That'll get you 20% off on the website. We're still in the process of setting up retailers. So if you're listening to this in Texas, for example, we don't have any retailers in Texas yet.
Yeah.
Definitely plan on coming through Dallas, smoking a stick with you. I might even be able to get Uriah Hall, lives right there in Dallas. Maybe I get, UFC OG Uriah Hall to come hang out and have
Oh,
smoke.
that'd be dope, man.
Come,
That'd be dope. He was the face of UFC for quite some time.
and he's a great guy too, but get him to come in there, smoke his broadleaf. I'm telling you, that's a great cigar. So that's fun. So we might be able to facilitate that. Now I'll say these guys are extremely busy. They train a lot. He's in karate combat now, whooping some butt over there. So, but that's knowing you're in Dallas, Uriah's in Dallas. I mean, it's already in the back of my head as I come through Texas. I'll be hitting them up and seeing if we can make that happen.
Yeah, let's make it happen, Captain. So, how can we find you?
Well, triumphcigars.com is our website. We're on Instagram, we're on X, and we're on Facebook. We're not on the rest yet, quite simply because I only have so many hands, so
right.
We're building. We've got limited staff doing a lot of work right now. So that being said, as we grow and lay the foundation, we'll be on more platforms out there, but I'd say Instagram and our website are probably the best way to find us right now.
Awesome. Guys, this is Boss Talks on the Rooftop. My man Brian Smith of Triumph Cigars. Make sure you place your orders with him. Use KP Lux 20 for the promo code to get 20% off. Help you save some coinage. I stole that from Dan Revanelli of 505 Cigar Reviews. I want to introduce you to him as well. But guys, make sure you like, subscribe, share the channel. Go and follow Triumph Cigars. They got a lot of good stuff ready and available, and got a lot of stuff coming out on the pipeline. And remember, storms don't last, but your home should. Peace. Two fingers.
Thanks for the time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brian.
Have a good one.
You too, brother.